Hello, I'd like you to welcome the 3 times world champion of the snooker table, John Spencer. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Steve.
Those wins were a number of years back now. We're talking, what, 20, when was the last tournament?
69 was the first win. Then they took the sawdust off the floor then.
Right.
And 1970, and 71 and 77. So the 71 in actual fact was in 1970.
That makes a lot of sense. The 71 season. 70.
That's right, because Reardon won it in 1970, but then they held it in Australia in the October. So it was the same year.
Right. So back in 1969, pre-World Championship television Crucible Theatre as we know it, what was it like to win the World Championship then? Where was the final held?
It was at the hotel in London. Can't even think of the name of the hotel. One of the big hotels in London. And
what did they play the qualifying rounds there and everything, or?
No, I played John Pullman my first match in Bolton.
Right.
Then I think I played Fred Davis in Blackpool somewhere.
Oh, so it travelled around.
But it set off. I mean, the World Championship actually started about September, October of one year and finished in March, April the following year. You would just play one match, 73 frames, which was a week's match.
73 frames?
Yeah.
And the tournament took 9 months or 8 months or something?
Yeah.
So the winner was going to be consistent?
Yeah.
So you won the World Championship from turning professional. How did that work? Were you not longer professional when you won the World Championship?
No, I turned professional. In actual fact, the fascinating thing, I think, was how I started playing snooker again. Because when I was 15, I started playing. I made my first century after about 6 months. I was in all the local papers. And then, of course, 18, I had to go in the forces. Found there were other things than snooker. And never played snooker again. But while I was 15, I used to play this, funny enough, a bookmaker called Les Taylor, regularly at Radcliffe. However, when I came out of the forces, I got myself a job and that was it. And finished up, I was 29 when this Les Taylor came to my house. And apparently 2 clubs, David Taylor was a member of one and John Virgo, Salford Snooker Club, used to play alongside Snooker Club every Sunday, 5 a man.
Right.
And he thought I was still playing, so he asked me would I go and play for Longside. So he'd painted such a picture, obviously, I had to go. So I went practising every lunchtime, just had a knockabout and went down on the Sunday. But it just proves what the mind is like. They'd lost with over 100 points for 10 weeks Longside. They had me going on last against Austin Whiteside, who was one of the top local amateurs. And they beat the other 6 by 46 points because they thought they had a world beater coming on last. And I lost by 23. But because when I saw Austin Whiteside, who was the top player locally, I said to this Les Taylor, if he's the best, give me 3 weeks and I'll play some money matches.
All right.
And that's how I started playing snooker again.
At the age of 29?
29.
Which was very late to start taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So how long after that did you turn professional?
Well, after about 2 years, the National Spastic Society, who used to have Jack Ray and Joyce Gardner, Kingsley Kennelly, going around playing for them, phoned me up and asked me would I turn professional and play on their behalf, raising money, for the Spastic Society.
And did you just, in those days, did you say, I'm turning professional, or did you have to be accepted by the professional association?
No, I just said I'm turning professional and that was it.
So you had to be, to play exhibitions, you had to be a professional?
Yeah.
So then you did a year playing charity exhibitions?
Charity exhibitions, and then I think it was Rex that came forward and said the knockouts, the World Championship used to be on a challenge basis.
Because yes, right.
There was only one match every year.
Up until the time you became world champion, I think was it John Pullman was the world champion, and that was basically just who held it was challenged.
That's right.
And then so that changed when you came along.
Well, there was 8.
Right.
In actual fact, there was 7, and they taught Bernard Bennett from Southampton into turning professional to make it 8, and then they put it on a knockout basis.
Okay, right.
And
around the world, around the country.
Around the country.
So your matches were 75 frames,
73.
Best of 73. Can you remember the scores in any of them?
Which was 6 in the afternoon, 6 at night, and 7 on the Saturday
With
night.
the paying public, hopefully.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought he would have came to the first session of a best of 73 match.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Did they? Really?
Yeah, they came to every session.
Marvellous.
Afternoon and evening, yeah. But when you talk about they came to it, you know, if you could get 200, 300 people in, you got a lot of people.
So who did you beat in the first World Championship?
John Pullman.
Right. So you knocked out it was the right way to go about it, I suppose.
Well, I learned probably more off John Pullman than anyone. I always remember the last session at Bolton, I wanted 1 frame out of the 7, and all my mates said afterwards they thought he was in front with his attitude round the table.
He was a professional.
Oh, he knew how to handle things, and I was shaking, you know, obviously wanting 1 frame.
Who was your hero then? Well, John Pullman, I suppose, was your hero.
Yeah, I think so. I think without doubt I learned more off John Pullman than anyone.
These days, players, everybody knows everybody in the snooker world. If he's a good player, everybody knows about it very quickly. So, did you know about Ray Reardon? Or, as you know, when you won the professional championship your first time, what was Ray Reardon's situation then?
Yes, because what happened, before I turned professional, I started playing again, and I entered the amateur championship in '64 for the first time. Because they'd split it. It used to always be played in London, but they'd split it into North and South. And I won the Northern, and it was quite funny actually, because all of a sudden Harold Phillips, who was the chairman of the BACC then, in London, and obviously he's now got the result of the Northern Amateur Championship, John Spencer. And he must have rummaged through everything, couldn't find any record of me because I'd only just come on the scene.
It's not the natural.
And the next thing I get is a letter. Dear John, blah, 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 could you please send us a photograph? Urgent. So I sent him a photograph. No, never thought of writing anything, just put a photograph in an envelope and sent it off to him. And about 2 weeks later, the Billiards and Snooker, I don't know if you've ever seen it, the Yellow magazine, which was the official magazine.
The original official Billiards and Snooker magazine.
Came through the door, and there's Reardon in the bottom. Bow tie.
He'd won the southern area.
He'd won the southern area. And in the top is me, my brother and my mother outside Scarborough Baths in swimming trunks.
You sent a holiday snap.
And a caption underneath, John Spencer is the one on the right.
Oh. So did Ray, I mean, so you were aware of Ray then?
Yeah.
So you were adversaries as amateurs just about?
Yeah.
So then Ray obviously saw your success, turned professional as well?
That's right. Well, we used to go around playing exhibitions as amateurs for 2 or 3 years.
So I assume, as seems to be the way of the sporting world, is that you and Ray Reardon very quickly knew you were far better than the players that had gone before you.
Yeah.
And then, so overnight you took over?
Well, virtually.
Yes. I mean,
virtually, yeah.
And what was snooker like then? We sort of talk about the World Championship, but what was was there any television snooker at all then?
Nothing till the Pot Black. In that was there, of course, in 1970.
Right. So, and Pot Black was a weekly 1-frame match with 8 players to find a winner over 13 weeks.
Yeah, but it wasn't a weekly 1-frame match. They used to play them in about 3 days, the whole lot.
And we used to kid the world.
But it was always between Christmas and the New Year at Birmingham Studios. And they changed it eventually because I played Pullman one frame. And they used to have a clock
between
up.
Christmas and New Year?
Yeah. And they used to have a clock up with the 20 minutes on that you had to try and get it over in. And we'd both been on it the night before.
Celebrating, well, at the time of the year.
And Pullman made 3 fouls when he could hit the reds, and I made 2. So they said they'd never ever have it again between the Christmas and New Year.
Right, so all of a sudden, my memories then were I was just about starting to fall in love with snooker. 71, 72 was around the time they changed the balls from the old Crystal 8, which were quite heavy balls, to the new Super Crystal 8, which were supposed to be easier to screw back and all things like that. So I remember those days. I followed the snooker magazines, and Ray Reardon and John Spencer were the names. And you must have thought you were going to have it quite all your own way until all of a sudden a hurricane blew in.
Well, it came actually, in my opinion, Alex made the game. The Pot Black had just started it, taking it off. And if Alex had have come in 2 years earlier, 2 years later, I don't think he'd have had the effect. But it just needed something to give it that lift. And Alex came in, and that was it.
Just pulled in a fraction. And how about that?
Of all the players that have come into the game, obviously Alex is the most amazing character there's ever been in snooker. But you've seen him right from the start. You've followed his career, although you had a career of your own, of course.
Yeah, well, when he came over, he came living in Bolton, so I just, I used to go and play him regular.
What was he like then?
He was all right. He was a smashing lad, but the wrong people started latching onto him, and it finished up that he never went for a drink. There was always somebody there to go and get it for him or whatever he wanted. And I always remember I'd played him in Accrington and was going to a nightclub. And we're walking along and there's a Panda car coming down. And Alex just walked out in front. Excuse me, we're going to such a nightclub. And he honestly expected the policeman to take us to that nightclub. That's how he got, with everyone doing things for him. And of course the policeman told him what to do.
But he was, as you say, was instrumental in raising the awareness for a lot of people that weren't really snooker fans.
Oh.
Even back then?
Oh, no doubt at all. I always said, if you asked any player, if you got all the players together and said, right, you've got to go and watch a snooker play tonight, who will it be? Everyone would have said Alex. And he would fill anywhere.
Looking to get on, to pot this brown and get on the red, lying on the top rail.
Well, he was obviously a very, very exciting player, and you must have enjoyed playing against him. The fact that you're probably taking away some of your achievements, and you were trying to take away some of his. But when Ray Reardon and yourself were in your prime, you were the player who had brought flair to the game. Certainly, from reading your book years ago, I remember thinking, the first player to play the deep screwbacks, the first player to be aggressive and attacking.
One. Now he's looking at the black. Terrific amount of check side there on the cue ball. Not an easy one by any matter of means. And Spencer quite content to put another. And in fact, Cliff Thorburn, the great sportsman he is, has conceded that our 46th frame. And now the World Trophy, which he gives a little kiss to, having let it alone since 1970.
When Alex came along, was that a sort of like stealing your thunder, or was it not like that?
Well, I remember playing Alex a few times, and he used to knock me sick, you know, because I mean, I used to love to attack, but if there wasn't the value there, I'd play a good safety, and he'd knock a red in up the cushion. Some of the shots he used to pull out, I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and I still say to this day, his 69 against Jimmy in the World Championship was as good as anything. I mean, it wasn't a good break, positional-wise, but for excitement,
no, yeah.
You won't see another break like it.
Well, that break, in my opinion, I'm sure in yours as well, cost Jimmy the World Championship win that may have changed his career. Jimmy White in the semi-finals against Alex Higgins had Alex for dead, but for the miracle that's become legendary, 69 clearance that Alex made, or 62, whatever it was. Jimmy White would have been in the final then against Ray Reardon.
Ray Reardon.
So who do you think, I mean, you assume that if Jimmy White had beaten Alex Higgins, that Jimmy would have won. Who do you think would have won out of Ray Reardon and Jimmy White then?
And Jimmy would have murdered him.
Do you think so?
Yeah, my mate.
You're a big Jimmy fan?
No.
Oh, you're not a big Jimmy fan?
Yeah, of course I'm a big Jimmy fan.
You're a big Jimmy fan?
I'm not a Reardon fan.
You probably had too many run-ins.
Yeah.
We've got Jimmy White, the most talented player, and I hate to say it, the word's great on me because I know what it means to win things and lose things. Most talented player never to win the World Championship.
Yeah.
Alex Higgins, the most talented player to have won the World Championship, and now coming to the genius mode himself, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the most talented player has yet to win the World Championship. The three of them are, without doubt, I would imagine in your eyes, certainly in mine, they have the abundance of talent that no other players have. Put them in order for me.
I would think the most talented player, without a doubt, has got to be Ronnie. When I say talented, this is actually playing with the hands.
Right.
And not the head.
Okay.
Ronnie has got to play left-handed.
It's phenomenal.
I mean, I just can't believe it can be done.
I think it makes everybody feel sick on the snooker circuit. We all say it's fantastic, but most of the players don't achieve that standard left-handed.
No.
The right-handed, but he does left-handed.
No. Just to remind viewers at home, this isn't being disrespectful to Peter Ebdon. It's just that Ronnie O'Sullivan has so much talent, he can make century breaks left-handed.
16. Yeah, around the top end of the table, of course, the black spot, he saves quite a lot of shoe leather, doesn't he, when you think about it? Doesn't have to go around the corner 17. Of the table. What a fabulous shot that was. And that 21. Was left-handed.
I think we should have a caption up at the bottom of the screen to let everybody know that this is exceptional stuff from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
29. Well, he must be a bit bemused about it all. This is the best any of these three players have played all day.
38.
Well, snooker's required now, and this certainly is O'Sullivan's best form today.
45.
The only trouble is, Mark, he makes it look so easy. I'm not too sure whether everybody actually knows that he is playing with the wrong hand.
Listen, and when you see him playing like this, you can see that he's quite justified in what he's been doing so far. I think he's actually faster than Ronnie O'Sullivan, right-handed. Break goes to 55. He's controlling the ball as though it was on a bit of string. Let's see him get round onto this blue. Oh, he's gone too hard. I don't know, or has he? Oh no, he's perfect.
62.
Now he's right-handed. Now he's, what's it going to be now? No, it's left-handed again. The break is 67, and that's the end of that. I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
Well, that's the stroke of genius.
43.
Playing one red off another into the top left-hand pocket. Great shot from White.
Well, I think Jimmy is the people's favourite. He's such a likeable... I've known Jimmy... I used to play Jimmy when he was 15. Him and Tony Mio down London. I used to drive down and go around the clubs around Margate and everywhere playing him. And all the time I've known Jimmy, and he's had some bad things done on him, I've never heard him call one person. He's an absolute gem.
Do you know, there's very few players who never moan when they lose and never boast when they win. I don't know a player that's as good as Jimmy White for doing that.
No.
On the table, then, where does he fit in this genius, talented bit?
Well, you know, I always sort of look at Jimmy as finesse. I mean, when he pots the last black, he smashes it in, but very rare he thumps a ball. You know, he's more finesse round the table. Myself, I'd rather see Jimmy than probably the other two, but I'm a snooker player.
Yeah, different. Yes. Obviously, many people would have wanted him to win a world championship.
Yeah.
And the question that's asked of Jimmy now, and also myself in a way, and anybody who's perhaps from another era and is now playing in a new era, will he ever win a world championship?
But you see, I'm a great believer in fate as well. You know, I think some things are fated to happen, and I think Jimmy is fated not to win the world championship. The Alex Higgins thing, Stephen Hendry.
Right place, wrong time.
When he missed the red, thinking he wanted the black.
Yeah.
To go 11, was it 11 frames in front of something, and Steve won 8 on the trot and pipped him. And John Parrott, when he played him, he would have beaten anybody in the world.
Yes, of course, he played his brains out that day, didn't he? Yes.
And this is what I'm saying. Jimmy has not lost a world final. People keep saying about Jimmy losing the world final. I don't think he's lost one.
He's been outplayed by a player who's hit
He's been
form
beaten
on the day.
He's been beaten, and there's a big difference.
I think I view it the same way. I think, yeah.
Apart from perhaps the first one, as I say, against Alex, when he missed that.
Well, he's been unfortunate to come into contact with Stephen Hendry in the final for a number of times. Who's done a lot of damage, but
yeah.
Fascinating. Well, I've had a few run-ins, not run-ins off table, but battles with players. Obviously, against Jimmy, there was a time. Terry Griffiths, I suppose, and Alex Higgins, perhaps for me, were the biggest battles because they split the crowd. But I mean, your battles with Ray Reardon, obviously. So, I mean, were the crowd split then? How was that? How was that all?
I think this is the beauty of snooker. I think it doesn't matter who's playing, the crowd are split 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. You know, each player has a percentage. So I think that, and that's where the snooker, you know, the beauty of snooker comes in.
It's a good shot by Reardon. The black straight down the spots. And again, Spencer brings the black up the table. The final now, having been played over some 10 hours of play. And it finishes in a tie, with now the black ball only left. Who is going to pull this out of the bag? It's a great one. It's a great one by John Spencer. So Spencer becomes the first Benson and Hedges master.
Do you think you try a bit harder against the player who is your opposite, or the one you have to beat at the time? You know, do you think that you pull it out for that player?
Yeah, I think you do. I remember me and Pullman in Australia when we went over there playing the tournament, and Reardon was over there, and Reardon put this article in the paper calling everybody, the Australian Association, me and Pullman, the whole lot, and I have to play him. And I think it was about 19-4 I was in front, in frames. And I'd pot a red and roll up behind the green.
Oh.
And it was 25 up. And at 24-4, I still snookered him. I couldn't rub it in enough. But that shows how that
gets
must
you
have
going.
inspired me.
Yes, yeah. But of course, there's also respect as well. Playing wise, I mean, at the time of not really seeing from a distance, really, and possibly even who's won the most world championships around that time. Ray Reardon won 6 world championship titles throughout the 70s, and when I was coming up through the ranks, I wanted to know why he was the #1 ranked player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably in the ranking, I don't know if there was a ranking list then, or was there?
Well, I think it was just there was only 8. I think there were only 8 of us.
But I wanted to know why was Ray Reardon? What was good about Ray Reardon? What was his strengths? Because it was too long ago for me to remember.
He was a good tactician. He was a good tactician.
Pressure player?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He could play under pressure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His tactics.
But he was a good tactician. There was no doubt about it.
You were more inspirational? You were more inspirational playing?
I just went and enjoyed it. I can honestly say, I went out there. This is why they got the photograph with me in the swimming trunks. Well, the World Championship to me was only a name.
Right.
And it would be if I was playing today. I'd rather win all the other tournaments and lose the world.
I remember, I tell you what, one of my first ever professional tournaments was up in Ipswich, the Tolly Cobbold.
Oh, yeah.
We visited the guy's house. I think I was there with you. We visited the guy's house who had the bald parrot.
Yeah.
Remember? We'll talk about that later. But my match in the Tolly Cobbold, my first experience of playing Ray Reardon in professional play was an eye opener, and it was also, I didn't know what was happening because I'd perhaps won a frame. I don't know what the scores were, 1-1 or something, and all of a sudden this referee from the local area has racked the balls up, and he's took the rack off, triangle off, and he's walked back to call us, no, Ray Reardon to break. Ray Reardon went up to the pack of reds and went, no, they're not set up right. So the referee went, oh, sorry, Mr. Reardon, right, okay. I'm just like a whippersnapper. So he's got the triangle again from under the table, put it back again, racked him up. Looked at Ray. Ray came up and walked to about the pink spot and went, no, they're still not set up right. So now the referee's at the full house, you know, he's really under pressure all of a sudden, so he's wrapped him up quickly and like they know he's scared, just wants to get going again. So Ray's now, he hasn't even bothered to walk past the balk line this time, and he went, no. And the guy had to rack the balls up 5 times before he said he was satisfied. I was embarrassed for the referee, so much so that I played rubbish the rest of the game and Ray beat me. But I mean, he was a master of not psychological warfare in a way. Perhaps, I don't know how you thought. He was tremendous. He had a superiority complex, which was great. If you want to be a winner, that's what it was all about.
Yeah, but you see, I couldn't do that. That is not sport. To start having to go at the referee before the game started.
Well, it was different.
You know.
It was different. And
oh, yeah.
What are your favourite times from your career? There's the amateur days, the professional days, winning world championships, the 80s, commentating, being on the board, being a chairman of all different periods of a career involved in snooker. What bits do you look back with the fondest memories?
It's a good question, that. I don't think so much the amateur days. The early professional days, I enjoyed, because I enjoyed going around the country, you know, giving exhibitions and such. Because that's what fascinates me now, is when you hear the people say that the players of today have no personality. I mean, when I started going playing these exhibitions, I had no personality. Oh, Jackie Ray. I don't know if you remember Jackie.
Jackie Ray, was that the Mr. Personality himself? Wasn't
he was one that taught me what to do. And it's all of a sudden, I got personality.
And you could entertain.
By keep going round playing. But if I hadn't have gone there and played in the World Championship, I mean, I didn't do anything funny in the World Championship. That was serious. But the public still tried to class you with the present day players, and they said they haven't got the personality now, which I think is ridiculous.
Well, I personally think there's a great bunch around now, but perhaps they don't get the breathing space that some of the players years ago got on the television. But one thing they certainly have is the ability.
Oh,
and I mean, like, I think you've been reported as saying that the players of today would have given the players of the 70s era or the 80s era 14-point start.
Say me, don't say the players. You're looking at me.
I would have given the Ray Reardons and John Spencers
I would have
two black start,
at least
points.
2 black start off the Stephen Enders, John Higgins, yeah.
What do you think that's down to?
Learning. I think they learn from the past. I don't believe any old player, past player, will beat any modern player at anything. The only game I think that's gone backwards, in my opinion, is football. And that is because of the speed the game's played at.
So you mean the skill level?
Yeah, you don't see the skill, the George Bests, etc. And you never will, because they're pulling the shirts and playing it so fast that that is the only sport to me that has gone backward.
Well, snooker's a very, very fair sport. I mean, the players own up to their own fouls. I mean, it lends itself to being a fair sport as well. It's a bit like playing patience. You can't cheat anywhere near. If you're a golfer and you would cheat, you may be able to get away with it. But at snooker table, it's on show and you don't cheat. But the modern day players, they don't have to cheat. But also the misrule now has come into the game. I think that's personally made the players better. I don't know if you have the same opinions, but now that we can't play the misrule as was before, when you could just play to pretend to hit a shot, miss it and leave no damage.
Yeah.
Now that you've got to hit a ball, it's made players be more skillful, go for more shots.
Yeah, I was one totally in favour of the misrule when it first came out, because I'd had shots played against me personally. But when I see it now, I often wonder if we wouldn't be better without the misrule at all. Because the only one that used to get in was the odd cheat. Now, you're getting a lot of genuine players losing out because of the misrule, who are not cheating, but all of a sudden they're 10 behind and next thing they can't win. And I think it'd be better probably to let the cheats get away with it.
Because they wouldn't win anyway.
Yeah.
That's a fair reflection on things.
Yeah.
So of the modern day players, of which none of them are cheats, who's your favourite? Have you got an out and out favourite of the modern day players?
Well, what do you mean an out and out favourite?
A player that in a way sort of you've warmed to.
The one I've got to say I like, because I think he's the brains of the game, is John Higgins.
Right.
Without a doubt.
In what way? Are we talking break building? Are we talking streetwise jungle instinct for winning a game?
Building breaks when he's in the mood, and when he's not in the mood, still managing to win.
Right, and he's proven he's already won the World Championship.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you've got a player who comes along and, in a way, defies putting into a category at the very least. It is Mark Williams, who I'm not too sure where he comes into the picture, because he's a very, very clever player as well. I don't know how much you've watched of Mark Williams.
I've watched Mark quite a lot. A great potter. Well, positional player as well. But he's not got the Higgins, the snooker brain that I call it.
Right.
When I say a brain, it doesn't mean they're clever.
No, of course
it's
not.
just that they see things on a snooker table straight away. If I do this, and there's so many, I think, you know, you go to the table and they're all on there for you to win the frame, and you play a bad shot, and 9 out of 10 will still try and clear the frame, clear the deck. Whereas the odd one, and I've seen John Higgins do it so many times, will say, right, I've made a mess of it, let's play a good shot. And I used to do it myself, you know, I've done it myself. You win the frame before you get to the table, because the balls are set so nice.
Your career was sort of shortened a bit by ill health. You would have probably liked to have gone on a bit longer.
Yeah.
But before that moment in your career, we were part of the England team that successfully won the World Team Championships. Before it was disbanded, now it's brought back again. But we had, I don't know where your memories of certain matches, and it was once again a long time ago, but very rarely did we ever play team snooker. But David Taylor, yourself and myself, we played in the successful England team, and you had to make, I think, the winning frame. And you made a great 50 or 60 break, I seem to remember. Can you remember anything of that?
Yeah, well,
because
no,
I think it was fantastic.
What went on the table, I can't remember anything of. But what I do remember was the three of us getting together and saying, right, we're a team. Whoever plays down there, the other two have to sit up in the balcony so that he can look up and ease the pressure.
It was awful.
And every time you looked up but it worked.
I remember cuddling David Taylor as you were taking on a tricky blue and wondering, hopefully there's no cameras on us, because we were like two nervous kittens and children, just hoping and praying to get you over the line. But of course you did, and you held yourself together remarkably well, which was, I don't know for sure, but was that at a time when, because it's been documented in the papers, that you'd started to have a medical problem?
No, that was 85.
Right.
That came on very quick. I didn't play snooker at all. May 19th, 1985.
Right, and what happened exactly?
I just laid out, I was at Pontins, Prestatyn. Just laid out on the bed for an hour, woke up and 2 of everything.
Not good for snooker.
Well, it wasn't bad, because there was a little ball and a big ball and little ball. No, I mean, snooker was finished then. So, I mean, now I can see it's clear as a bell, but it's the steroids, you see.
Right. So you were diagnosed with disease,
myasthenia gravis.
which is something that affects the eyes?
Well, it can affect the whole. I mean, touch wood, I'm one of the lucky ones. It can affect the whole body.
Right. And so from then
all
on,
the muscles. I mean, when I first got it, I didn't laugh at the time, but I have to laugh now. And you know, I hope I don't upset anybody that sent the letters. But when it hit the press, I got a load of letters from myasthenics all over the country. You know, saying, "Dear John, don't worry, I've had it 15 years now and I can nearly lift my head and I can nearly walk and..." And
oh,
then,
that must have made you feel great.
I mean, they know a lot more about it now.
Right.
But then they didn't, you see, and I had it in the eyes, but they wouldn't know for 12 months whether it would go in the rest of the body. They didn't know for sure whether there was an ocular version of it.
Right.
Now they know that if it's in the eyes, it's in the eyes and that's it.
So that must have been devastating. For a
Oh, I
snooker
mean,
player.
every time I was going golfing, you know, this bag feels heavy. Yeah.
So as a result of that, obviously you got involved, and you've done something that very few players, if probably the only snooker player in the history of our game to ever do, was for the charity, was a parachute jump.
Yes, I decided I'd do a parachute jump.
To prove that you were a player with all the bottle and pressure, nobody could touch you. So what was that like? What's the most frightening? Falling out of an aeroplane or walking out the Crucible Theatre?
The parachute jump wasn't that bad at all because I was in tandem, you see, which means there's
With Ray
a
Reardon?
bloke on my back.
Oh right, so it wasn't Ray.
No.
Oh.
All you've got to do is keep your head back. I tell you, whatever you do, keep your head back. And next thing you've gone, and apparently you go to 129 mile an hour. Well, you work it out. It doesn't take long before the parachute's open. You know, you don't even. I couldn't have played one shot in that time.
And how much did you raise for charity?
I forget it. I think it was about 2,000 or 3,000.
Oh, right, marvellous. So now, John Spencer.
Now I've got to do next April. I'm abseiling in Oxford.
Good luck. You do whatever you want with your life. Now we don't hear you so much on commentary, but you are playing a role in snooker.
Yes, I've got a job with a new magazine. It's sort of a betting advising magazine from London called The Sports Advisor.
Right.
And it's on the internet as well. So I write and predict what I think is going to happen and how much to have on, etc.
On the snooker.
And it goes on the snooker.
Right.
And it goes on the internet.
Oh, fantastic! But that's fun, yeah. So you're studying the game, watching television, watching the snooker, keeping up to date.
Yeah. So it keeps me bang up to date with everything. It's even taught me how to use the internet.
So your predictions are on individual matches that you think the prices are wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And strike rate, are you doing well?
The last one I didn't do very well, but the first one very well. First two quite well.
So the world.
But of course, you see, the last one was just after Christmas when they're all, you know,
recovering,
and
same
got
as
over
Pop
the.
Black.
That's your excuse, isn't it?
It has to be. My excuse, not that my excuse at the moment is. My excuse at the moment is there's a lot of good players around, and I'm just not in form at the moment, winning form. I'm playing okay, but I'm just not winning. And I think these days there's so many good players, a bit like the golfing circuit.
Yeah.
You can be playing well, but you don't get anywhere. Perhaps in my era and in your era, as long as you were playing fairly decently, you'd be in the finals.
That's right.
And that's just the fact of life and the way sport's gone.
Well, this is when you were saying about, you know, how do I class the sport, the players of today? You see, I think all these players today, if you've got a 10-year-old kid wants to play snooker, you buy him a video. And he learns off the best in the world. I used to learn off the best in the club, then the best in the town, best in the county. And that's why all sports, they're going better and better and better.
Finally, your prediction then, as the betting pundit for this year's World Champion, for the World Champion and for the value bet, for the one that perhaps the person who'd like to have a flutter on the spread on getting further in the tournament than people think, and also the World Champion this year.
Ooh, I couldn't do that.
Have you not written that article yet?
No.
Not at all.
What, for the World Championship?
This year's World Champion.
I couldn't do that because I don't even know who they're playing. I haven't even looked at the draws.
Oh, of course, that's important. Oh, I never thought of that.
Well,
you must have a sneaking suspicion for a young player
who
coming
do you
through.
play?
I haven't seen the draw either.
Because I'm going to back whoever you play.
Well, thank you very much. It's very kind of you, John. I do appreciate. I'll try and help you out. But if things don't go to plan, don't come crying on my doorstep. It's been a pleasure, John. Thank you very much for giving us an insight into your life and career. And give Ray all my best.
Will do.
And good luck with the tips doing business.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Steve.
you, John.